Welcome to the heart and soul of Outdoors Radio. It's the Hooking Up and Tracking Down Show. In our 11th season, we continue to share facts and give advice on the great outdoors, where we never let the lack of facts come between us and a good story. Guys who are dedicated to helping you become a better outdoorsman. Your host, Gary McCoy, who's no stranger to the radio world or the outdoors, with a CMA to his credit for best personality. A well-accomplished outdoorsman who loves the thrill of taking a big buck or putting a bass in the live well. Mike Eccles, born and raised in Louisiana, who's fished and hunted his entire life and continues to chase ducks in the backwaters and pull bass off cypress trees. And the Boss Tournament Trail Director who runs the best team circuit in Louisiana. Steve Graff, raised in the woods and waterways of East Texas, a former Northwestern State two-sport athlete and tournament angler who continues to strive for big bass and winning stringers. And last but not least, Jay Watley, the brains and producer of the show who pushes all the right buttons, a man with unmatched talent who excels in making these guys look good and this show sound great. Now let's jump off the front deck and make the first cast with the boys who know it all, Gary, Steve, Mike, and Jay.
Hooking up and tracking down 1130 The Tiger. I'm Gary McCoy.
Oh, yeah.
And the birthday boy.
That's why I'm in the middle.
57 years of age.
Yes. Young.
Today. Well seasoned.
A veteran.
It was on this date in 1961. The Graff family welcomed the new baby boy.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, that stork came flying in.
Yeah.
Did you come out head first with that big gourd?
It was really the Acord family.
The Acord family?
But it should have been the Comer family.
Yeah.
But it ended up being the Graff family.
Yeah, the Graff family. But they were so tickled
that
to have
my
it.
name has several different
It
branches.
sounds to me like they just kept giving you away. Nobody would keep you.
You know how true that is.
Happy birthday, Steve Graff. Eccles and I pooled our funds, and we've got you a little something. We're going to share that a little bit later in the show.
Is that why we're eating tacos today?
Yeah, we've got. Is it who's coming with tacos?
The new Taco Bueno on
wow.
Burt Coons is Brian Nelson, who's one of our fishermen in the Thursday night tournament, is one of the owners of Taco Bueno. And I have never in my life seen people flock to a restaurant.
Dude, all you got to do is go to a Taco Bueno like in Dallas.
Well,
I'm telling you, it's worth the
apparently
wait.
a taco is not just a taco, is not just a taco.
Amen.
So have you eaten there before?
No.
I hadn't either. I've never had Taco
Do
Bell.
they have birthday cake tacos?
Man, yeah.
Wouldn't that be good? A taco
yeah.
full of birthday cake?
I just put a candle in a regular taco. I do.
Well, today's Graff's birthday, and we got a little something special for him a little bit later in the show. It took us a long time to come up with the right idea for you.
I am married, so.
Yeah, I understand.
Not a female,
yeah,
is
no,
it?
this no.
You don't have to scoot your chair back and put your hands down beside your head.
Okay. Am I going to be hogtied?
Look, but don't touch.
In this particular case, you might want to be hogtied.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
You're not going home with glitter on you.
You might smell funny.
Well, we are going fishing, so.
Yeah, we are going fishing. Hey, this opening segment of the show brought to you by Steve Nichols, Bucks and Bulls, Guides and Outfitters, Despino Jim South Tire, Lake Fork Guide, Johnny Geis. Give him a call, or better yet, go to lakeforkbigfish.com to book the 2017 Lake Fork Guide of the Year. Johnny Geis, you see, even Jay, he hit the music. Even he was making sure that you knew.
Yeah.
That we know.
Yeah. See, I didn't want y'all to know. But
Yeah, but see, I mean, I noticed that when you came in, we never said anything about it being your birthday.
Yeah.
Did that strike you as odd at all?
No, not really, because I didn't want you to know.
I thought Graff would come to me and say, "Hey, it's my birthday. You wanna throw something special in there?" I got nothing from him, but we all knew.
Yeah,
we were ready.
Happy birthday, my
I
brother.
appreciate it.
Great show lined up for you. Guess who's on the show today? I'll tell you. It's Greg Hackney.
Yes.
Greg Hackney getting ready for the Classic. Now, the Classic is next. Is it next week or the following week?
the 15th, 16th.
So that's next week.
next week.
Next week.
Classic on Lake Hartwell is next week, and of course, all the guys are probably trying to get all of their stuff all put together. Do you think we'll get Iaconelli next Wednesday, or because he's at the Classic, probably not?
This might be the last guy we get before the Classic, which
Okay.
we're tickled to death to have.
Oh, without a doubt.
But now I will say this: I kind of messed up with Hackney. I told him the situation that we had originally scheduled Iaconelli, but his plane got canceled, and Hackney sent me a text back. I'll be your Huckleberry. I said, well, we appreciate it.
Well, Greg Hackney is going to be on the show today. We're going to visit with him. That is going to happen at straight up 12 noon, and we're hoping that he'll hang around with us for about 30 minutes or so. Maybe get a lot of stuff out of him.
Real quick, I want to wish give my best wishes, our best wishes from Hooking Up and Tracking Down. Brent Slaughter, old St. Mary's All-State football player at St. Mary's High School. He's working for an oil company. He's now headed out to West Texas for a new job, and Hunter is out there actually following him out there. Hunter, y'all be safe on the road out there. Make sure you listen to us all the way to Dallas and keep us tuned in. But anyway, I want to wish Brent the best of luck in his new job. And,
Amen.
So good luck to you, Brent.
Here at 11:15, the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fishery has a brand new sheriff in town, the new chief of enforcement, Colonel Sammy Martin. And apparently he's considering some changes, trying to add to the staff, that kind of thing. I wonder if he's a proponent of the new possible increase to your state fishing license and hunting license.
Do you know he does not have a choice?
No, but
if
he
the
can be
Secretary
he can be
of Wildlife
further
and
against
Fishery
it.
just appointed him, he does not have a choice.
Yeah.
It's true.
He's got, like it or not, he's got to probably have to defend what his boss is pushing. Now, we don't have to like it.
I wonder what we can do if we think that they need to better spend the funds they already have.
Well, we are over 60, so I get all my stuff for $5.
I ain't there yet.
What if they told you right now that that's got to go away?
I'd be a mad mother son of a gun.
Because that's what they're doing to the kids. That's
Absolute,
one of the proposals.
absolute.
That kids will have to
Let me tell you what. You can go to the state of Oklahoma, which is not a rich state.
Right.
Oh, no. By
The state of Oklahoma is building duck hunting refuges for duck hunters. They do anything in the world to get you to come to their state to hunt and fish and take care of you while you're up there hunting and fishing. Louisiana is doing everything in their power to drive you away.
It would appear that way.
Yeah.
It would
I see
appear
your point.
and
Yeah.
you start considering the fact that, hey, look, if we were seeing progress with Salvinia, if we were seeing that maybe there were additional lakes being built, or that there were state funded stocking programs that were going on, if we were seeing that our dollars were being spent the way we thought they ought to be spent, then we might be able to justify that to a certain degree. But all of a sudden, when you consider the fact that this is Louisiana,
Yeah.
and we got the best politicians money can buy.
Yeah, and just like BASS, basically putting Louisiana off limits.
I mean, they can't even when they
And
go
the tournament's on the border.
Yeah, when they're fishing a border lake, they've said
Yeah.
down there in South Louisiana, like on the Sulphur River,
At Beaumont.
No, you can only fish in Texas.
Yeah.
Because Louisiana's legislature is allowing these landowners and stuff down there access that a lot of guys don't deem legal.
Yeah.
So
Shame.
made it really, really ugly. Anyway, Colonel Sammy Martin is going to be on the show here at 11:15. Also, this is going to be kind of neat. Our United Rentals trivia question of the day. Be thinking about this one. I'll give you a chance to Google it.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to be talking about old anglers.
Yep.
And the answer is not Steve Graff.
Well, I wouldn't have
Okay.
qualified for that anyway.
We'll get to that
That's
here
not
a little
even
bit.
me.
Yeah.
Oh, and think about this one. What makes some lakes more attractive to anglers than others? What makes a lake a destination? What makes a Toledo Bend or a Sam Rayburn what they are? Then when you've got other lakes that are around that are possibly just as attractive to some people locally, but yet don't get that big mass appeal. Why is that? And we'll go through a couple of things on that. Of course, we had a couple of big tournaments over the weekend. One of those, the Boss Tournament Trail, hit Toledo Bend, and I'm going to tell you, man, the fish showed up.
You know, the fishermen showed out and the fish showed up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we just our tournaments in the Boss Trail, Landers Ram Boss Trail, are the first Saturday of the month. Every year, we don't vary because of the weather. We don't vary because of the moon. This is the one that hit when you spun the wheel. It stopped on the arrow.
Oh yeah,
This was it. Full moon. You know, the water temperature had risen up sufficient enough, and it was just a ton of fish caught. We had 115 teams down there, and I think Charlotte said there was like 97 came to the scales.
Wow.
Now that's you know. A lot of people catch 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds. I'm just not
just
going
don't
in.
weigh in.
Yeah.
So,
But now, aren't you on a point system with the boss? I mean,
So there is some incentive to come to the scale.
yeah, that's fine.
there is, but if you had 5 pounds, you didn't get hardly any more points than you would have if you just didn't show up to the scales. You still got points for zeroing.
Right.
So,
Right.
it might have made 1 point difference.
But there are times when showing up with that one fish
Yes.
could make the difference in 40 or 50 points.
Well, yeah, if it weighs 10 pounds.
Well, I mean,
but on your circuit too, though, if you fish all of them, do you automatically qualify for the championship, or do you
Yes,
have to have? Is it based off points?
No.
Well, then that's.
but you're
a lot of it.
tiered. You're tiered into what your ultimate prize
At
is
the end of the year. Yeah.
by
your points.
by your point system.
Right,
You know,
right,
so
right.
you could either fish for a really nice Ranger boat,
A big Ranger or
A smaller Ranger.
aluminum Ranger.
Yeah.
But you know, most of the people came to the scales, and they came to scales with sacks full of fish. The team of David Brown and Claude Eccles took first place.
And Claude was fishing by himself.
His partner, David Brown, has had the flu for about 10 days.
Wow.
And just could not make it. And Claude went down there
Is
so proud
is the
of
rumor? Is there any truth to the rumor that he and Blake Shelton, you know, were shacked up together, you know, during this time?
David Brown?
Yeah,
The Blake Shelton?
Yeah, and Blake, you know, both of them with the flu. It's
Oh,
just
Blake
kinda-
Shelton's got the flu?
Well, he did. That's
Oh,
why
I
he had
didn't know.
to
I
cancel
thought maybe-
Saturday night.
I thought you were saying
he did the show
Blake-
last night.
Blake Shelton and David Brown shacked up and got David Brown pregnant.
Well, that's that. You know, I'm kind of going that way.
Anyway, back to the fishing. First place.
You heard it here first on hooking up and tracking down.
Yeah, you probably heard hooking up and tracking down last for the last time. Anyway, first place, 2505. 5 fish, and they walked off with $4,200. Josh Folks.
No, one question. Did he have 5 5-pounders, or did he have a 10-pounder? Or an 8-pounder?
The first 2 fish he caught weighed right at 7 apiece.
Way to go, Claude. Way to go, Claude.
Second place, Josh Folks, Chad Primos, 5 fish, $23.91. They had $2,200. Ben McCormick fishing with his son Mason. It's just done really, really well this year and last year. They had $22.47. They got $1,200. Terry Burkhart and Jeff Holder.
Love those guys.
I'm telling you, $22.33 for fourth place. They got $1,000. Kerry Falgood, Mike Vandergriff. Mike hadn't fished with us in a while. Glad to see him back. $21.69 for fifth place. $900. Marshall Clyburn, Jeffrey Rice. They had $21.28 for sixth place. $800. Earl Glass, Mark Hay, always a threat. $20.85. And they won $750. Then Cody Beasley, John Hoare had $20.52 for eighth place. Kyle Kennington, Dean Lewis were ninth place, and they got $650. Colby Hand and Ty Humphreys were 10th place. They had $20.35, won $600. 11th place, Alan Bass and Wayne Watson were 11th place. 11 sacks over $20.
20 pounds.
Over what did I say? $20.
Yeah.
And that
20
too.
pounds. I was looking down to the $500. Mike Johnson and Butch Reed came in with the big fish of the tournament. I'd have swore that fish was going to weigh 10 pounds. It weighed 9.88. They went home with $500 from Gator Tail Boats. That's our free sponsor of our Big Bass pot. And let's see. Oh, you'll never see this
Hey,
again.
the smallest
Five fish limit.
Let's see if it's smaller than what I weighed at Rayburn.
Okay, tell him
Let me
what
tell
the
you what I
five
weighed
fish.
at Rayburn.
Tell him what the 5 fish weighed.
Well,
I weighed 513 at Rayburn on Saturday.
Oh, did you? 513.
I'm sorry, 713.
713.
I don't. I've got to find it here. But there it is, right there. It's not what the fish weighed.
It's who caught them. Yeah.
The smallest 5 fish weighed in this tournament, 9.55 pounds.
Need a break.
Jeremy Botica and Ricky Lee.
Really?
Yeah. Won $100 from Gateway Tire. Thank you, Gateway Tire. That's always a neat thing. Somebody gets a check that they never expected, but you never expect Botica and Lee to come in with the smallest 5 fish in a tournament like this.
I promise you, nobody's shedding a tear for those
in
guys.
the top 5. In the top 5. And we had 3 anglers, and I'm not sure which ones they are. They're not marked here. Well, I think they are.
We got to take a break.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to the BFL results a little later.
We'll visit with the LDWF's new Chief of Enforcement, Sammy Martin, here in just a moment, hooking up and tracking down 11:30, the Tiger.
Won't be here. Happy birthday, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. My best wishes may be early, but I'm not sticking around.
The Hook It Up and Tracking Down Show would like to say thank you for tuning us in today. We're so blessed, of course, with great sponsors like Daiwa Rods and Reels, J&J Exterminating, B&M Baits, Commercial Power Equipment, and Toledo Town and Tackle, your fishing tackle headquarters and home of the best burgers on the Bend. Now back to the guys who have eaten way too many burgers, Gary, Steve, and Mike.
And a little word about Commercial Power Equipment. The owner, Paul Sutherland, one of the most knowledgeable guys when it comes to mowers and all the accessories that you're going to need. I mean, the grass is already growing, brothers. I had to mow my grass just a couple of days ago. It's here. This rain has brought it on. Now, when I say you mowed the grass, you're not seeing grass right now. You're seeing the weeds.
You know, weeds don't look bad if you keep them mowed.
Yeah. So right now is the time. You're getting ready for your spring yard work. Commercial Power Equipment can load you up on blowers, trimmers, mowers, and when they say mowers, they have got the absolute best mower on the market today. Exmark, whether you're looking for the residential version or the commercial version, they can hook you up. In-house financing available. So that means you don't have to walk up there with your checkbook prepared to write it all, a check for the whole thing right then. They can put you on a great finance plan. Just go to mybigmower.com. mybigmower.com to learn more about that. Don't forget now, straight up 12 noon, the Hack Attack. Greg Hackney is going to be on the show with us. He's getting ready for the Bassmasters Classic next week. On the phone now, the brand new Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries new Chief of Enforcement, Colonel Sammy Martin. Hello, sir.
Hey, how are you doing?
We're awesome. Now, what part of the world are you from originally?
The little town of Chauvin, just south of Houma, Louisiana, along the coast.
Chauvin.
So you know a little bit about that area south of Alexandria.
Oh, yeah, just a bit.
Okay,
Yeah.
because see, that for us, anything north of Alexandria, I know we're Yankees.
We might as well be in Arkansas.
But now you're the head hoss over the whole state in that regard. And I'm going to tell you that we've got some really good agents in this area that we've developed a really good relationship with. And kudos to you and the LDWF for putting the right men in a place to be effective in this particular area.
Well, I appreciate that.
One of the questions that has occurred to me, because nowadays, with cell phones and iPads and all this kind of stuff, as the head guy on enforcement, I figure you're probably the guy that can answer this phone or answer this question. If I have forgotten to purchase my new license, and all of a sudden I'm on the way to the lake, maybe I'm in the parking lot at the boat ramp, and I purchase my license online, can I just show an enforcement officer my phone and show him where I've purchased that? Am I legal then, or do I have to have the paper license on me to be legal?
Now, what it is, if you purchase it online while you're in the field, they'll give you a number and basically a code, and our guys can contact our dispatch and run that, make sure it's legit, and you'll be good to go.
Okay.
With the only thing that wouldn't be accepted would be, it's not a state license, but during the duck season, obviously your federal duck stamp, you'd be required to have that, because that'd be a little different.
But you can also have a picture, like if you're required to have the hunter certification, hunter's ed certification, you can have a picture of that on your phone as well, and you're still good.
Yep. As long as we've got a number that we can reference it to, absolutely. Yep.
There's something with that. They used to do this, and from what I've been told, that it's hard to find it now. But they used to offer like a laminated version of that hunter certification. Now, the three of us old enough that we didn't have to have that, but my oldest son could get one of those.
What do you mean don't have to have it?
You don't have to have a hunter's ed.
Hunter's ed certification.
I've got it.
You don't have
good.
to have
I'm
it,
glad, but you don't have to have it in order to have your license.
Right.
What is it?
Okay.
1969 or later?
I'm sorry. I had to have it because I went to Colorado.
Right.
Yeah.
But I encourage everybody go get it.
Yeah.
It's a great idea to have that. But they ought to have. This is something we can work on. They ought to make it where you can get like a laminated version of that.
You can.
Oh, can you?
Because mine wore out.
Yeah.
I called somebody up. They were very nice, and they got another one. I don't think any cost, and it was laminated.
Okay.
That's right. And understand, too, now, if you would bring your boater education card and your hunter education card with you when you get your driver's license renewed, that you can get that put on your driver's license now.
That's, what, I'm glad you mentioned that, because nowadays, and I want to say this is going to go into effect either later this year or next year, you have to have that new kind of a driver's license.
Yep.
That will allow you to go into any federal building. Without that, and I can't remember what it's called. Maybe you could help me out with
Called
that.
a real ID.
Real ID.
It is. That's right, the real ID. And actually, I got mine. Actually, I updated mine. I have my. I actually got a lifetime combo, hunting and fishing, and I've got my hunter education and my boater education on that. It's a little code that indicates it, and you flip it over on the back, and it tells what you have as far as a license. Yep.
Have you ever been? Has an enforcement agent ever checked your license when you were out hunting or fishing?
No, I always had one. I can tell you that. I made sure.
That'd be hilarious.
Wouldn't it? No?
Oh man.
Yeah. Check myself. Make sure I'm good.
Well, look, Colonel, I've got a question for you. And with our waterways and our we're really woods and waterways becoming so crowded today and overrun with between high school kids fishing and hunting and college kids fishing and hunting now, what is the state of Louisiana doing to possibly beef up the enforcement level for and create more jobs for possibly for wardens? Is there something being done in that regard?
Well, we obviously would love to have more. We actually have an academy that we're fixing to start here beginning of July. We're looking for another 24 agents, but and that's going to be to replace people that have retired or moved on. And our number has been pretty stable at about 232 statewide, and it's pretty much been around that number since I've been here. But obviously, that would require some funding and some additional money and stuff. But you could always use more people. You understand we've got 232 agents statewide to enforce everything from land, woods, waterways, the coast, and then we also have our agents are federally deputized with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and National Marine Fisheries, and we actually enforce the waterways in the Gulf of Mexico up to 200 miles offshore. So yeah, we're spread thin. We can always use more.
If a young man or a young lady was wanting to pursue that, as a career, what would you advise them?
I would advise if you're interested. Obviously, I would take you some your college courses in criminal justice. We don't require a degree, but you require to have at least 60 semester hours. And obviously, when we're going to look at those applications, and someone that has took a course in criminal justice, as you know, our job is law enforcement. We are police officers, and then possibly going to work with a sheriff's office or a PD. Getting a little bit of an academy or a little bit of law enforcement under your belt before you would put in. But our requirements are 60 semester hours or 2 years full-time law enforcement, whether it be, but it's going to have to be a post-certified gun-carrying officer that's not working in jail, or 4 years continuous military. Either one of those would qualify you for the job, or a little bit of each that would qualify.
Colonel, this is kind of a broad statement, but broad question. Statewide, in the state of Louisiana, with LDWF, what is the biggest issue, or the biggest offense, or the hardest thing for agents to handle as far as game and fish violations? Where is y'all's biggest problem in hunting or fishing as far as offenses go?
Well, that would be according to the area or the region within the state you're talking about. Obviously, in the northern part of the state, it would be illegal hunting and things like that.
Trespassing.
And as you would come south, dealing with the commercial fishing industry. We deal with oysters, crabs, shrimp, or whatever with the theft and trying to put maybe oysters on the market that are coming out of a closed area or theft and things like that. So. Shrimping illegally. And then some other parts of the state where we have boating under the influence is a big problem in certain areas. So that would depend on if you would specific to a certain area.
Okay.
Those will change what is the worst. But if you would ask statewide, it would be hard to say one in particular.
Okay.
When it comes to those offenses, I mean, how often do you see agents that they see repeat offenders, the same people over and over and over and over again? One of my biggest pet peeves in the state of Louisiana is when somebody has gotten their third or fourth DWI, and it's like, why do we keep allowing this person behind the wheel? And I'm certain that there's got to be people who are habitual, routine offenders. When it comes to wildlife and fisheries, how do you handle a situation like that?
Well, as law enforcement officers, the only thing we can do is go out there and do our job and catch them, and then present our case to the district attorney. Mm-hmm. And if we have to go to court. And if you some areas that don't prosecute or build him as a second or third offender the way that it needs to be done, it creates a problem. But as you know, all we can do is do our job, catch those people. It's frustrating, believe me, as a law enforcement officer, continue catching that same guy doing the same thing, and sometimes things aren't done the way they need to be done. But that doesn't stop us. We're going to keep doing our job and keep presenting it to the district attorneys and the judges throughout the state, and hopefully get some convictions. I can tell you the time that I've been on it's come a long ways, and those the DAs and the judges for the most part around the state have really come around, and we're seeing some good convictions.
Before we let you go, one final thing. Is there anything right now that you feel like is the most pressing thing in your brand new job that has got to get fixed with Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries in the Enforcement Division?
As of right now, I think just trying to get a full staff to get my people in place. I think when I walked in to where I am now, I think things are going great. But I think just to have a full TO, have a full staff, and get everybody out there working, I think we're good.
Well, if there's anything that these three bozos here can do to help you out, always rest assured that you've got an open phone line to us, and we will be there for you. Anytime you need to get the word out in North Louisiana, we're certainly available to you, and we want you to know how appreciative we are that you would take time out of a busy schedule to include us today.
Well, I appreciate that. If y'all ever need anything, let me know.
You betcha. That is the brand new...
Can I get a get out of jail card just in case something happens?
No.
Oh, well, I probably won't use it this year.
Thank you, Colonel
Thank
Sammy
you, Colonel.
Martin.
Y'all have a great day.
Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries' new Chief of Enforcement. He is the head guy, Colonel Sammy Martin. And don't forget now, Greg Hackney is on the show straight up 12 noon. Whatever you got to get done, get it done before then. We're hooking up and tracking down 11:30, the Tiger.
Got a tournament coming up or just going fishing and need to know the lake level? Then you have to check out our website. It's HUTDshow.com, loaded with info you need to know. This segment presented by K2 Coolers, Nichols Department Stores, Groove Fishing, and Lake Fork Marina. Winner of the Hooking Up and Tracking Down's Best Marina on Lake Fork. To reserve your cabin or hotel room, go to lakeforkmarina.com. I messed this all up. Here are the voices of the great outdoors, Steve, Gary, and Mike.
And if you're looking to take a trip to Toledo Bend, then you want to contact Foster Fence Pro Daryl Gleason. Daryl is FLW BASS Touring Pro, and he is also the Foster Fence Pro that does a tremendous job of guiding on Toledo Bend. And great educator. If you're looking for somebody to take you out and teach you about your techniques, as well as learn more about your Lowrance electronics, this is the guy. Half-day or full-day trips are available. And to book your next Toledo Bend adventure, go to GleasonFishing.com, or call 337-397-8860.
And you know what? To get that good, you got to have some age under your belt.
Yeah, little
Little
wisdom.
wisdom.
Yeah.
And you know what? By the time you get to be 57,
Yeah, like me.
I mean, then you've pretty well got it mastered.
Yeah.
And so therefore, we wanted to present you for our television audience. Jay, you got a timpani or anything? I mean, this is.
No, he's wanting a Zoom. Is
We
what he wants.
actually we pooled all of our extra money from this from the salary that you give us.
Right.
All the
Yeah,
money was left
yeah,
over.
yeah.
And we bought you this one. This is designer.
Those are designer?
Yeah, that's the designer depends.
Depends.
Yeah.
Huh.
And because we're all going fishing later this afternoon, we figured you might
You
want
think I'm supposed to wear those?
Well, yeah. You just put that on.
Between
and
that and your socks.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
you do know where people wear these, even young people.
Where?
At the New Year's Day bash, New Year's Eve, Rockin' Eve in New York.
They wear those?
They wear these.
So
because they have to go, because there's no bathrooms. So average Joes wear these.
Oh.
Well, then give that back to me. I didn't know I was going to need it.
You might need it again.
That came out of my box at the house.
Your United Rentals trivia question of the day today. Who is the oldest angler to win BASS Angler of the Year? Is it A, Guido Hibden, B, Gerald Swindle, or C, Roland Martin? That's got to be Roland Martin, doesn't it?
It's got to be, because I'm not sure that Guido Hibden ever won it.
I know he won the Classic, but I don't
Yes.
think he ever won Angler of the Year.
Who?
Guido Hibden.
He won it twice.
He won Angler of the Year.
Twice.
Okay. Is he the oldest one?
Well, wait a second. You can't ask. You got to give your opinion.
Okay. Well, Roland Martin, I want to say.
Roland Martin is.
I want to say he won it like 10, 12 times Angler of the Year.
And Roland Martin, I hate to say it because Roland Martin's a jerk, but he
Would be true.
has aged pretty doggone good.
Yeah.
He really has.
Now I
Yes,
will
sir.
say
He
this.
really
I will
has.
say this.
Yeah.
He was the front runner in television. He was the pioneer of knowing how to get that fish to look bigger than it really was.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Jimmy Houston explained it to me one time. He said, "You look at those videos that Roland had back in the old day." He said his thumb was as big as a dinner plate when he was holding those fish, and so he was the one that the reason why now we hold that fish so close to the camera.
Yeah.
is that was all because of Roland,
My guess would have been, of course, I know the answer, but my guess would have also been Roland Martin.
and that's not right.
And that's not right.
Gerald Swindle.
Gerald Swindle's the correct answer.
Really?
What?
How old
Gerald
was
Swindle
Gerald?
in 2016 won Angler of the Year at 46 years and 9 months and 1 day. In 1985, Roland Martin won it when he was 45 years old, 2 months and 18 days. 91, Guido Hibden won it at 44 years old, 10 months and 2 days. 84, Roland Martin won it again at 44 years, 2 months and 19 days. And then Guido won it in 1990, 44 years, 2 months and 19 days.
See, I
Gerald
misunderstood
Swindle
the
was it.
question. I thought you meant the oldest guy out there that won Angler of
That
the
has
Year.
won.
No,
Angler
I
of the
didn't
Year.
understand. Oh, I'd have got that right.
He's lying.
Well, you would think when they threw Gerald Swindle in there, you're like, okay,
You know what, though?
That's
You-
probably the right guy. 'Cause
You bring up all of this with Gerald and with Roland and all that. What would you say is the most memorable thing that ever happened to you in a Bassmasters Classic? And as far as a fan of the Classic, what would you say would be the most memorable? For me, I know exactly what it was.
And you and me are probably going to say the same thing.
Yeah,
and I'm probably going to say the same thing as y'all, as Jim Bitter.
Jim Bitter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt, that fish laying right there on that boat on the bump board.
Yeah.
And getting off back in the lake.
Yeah.
And how old was Jim Bitter then? 114? Somewhere along in there?
He's pretty old.
Well,
guy.
that's not what I was going to say because I had forgotten that was during the Classic.
Yeah.
I thought it was just during an event.
Yeah.
No, it was classic.
You better check into that.
100%, 1,000 positive proof.
I didn't realize
No,
that.
it's
I was
very
going to say, because of that, not including that, I was going to say Brian Kershaw winning.
Oh, yeah.
That would be one of mine. Also, when Iaconelli had that final really good day in the Louisiana Delta, and he had that big final day and never give up.
Yeah.
Slogan came out of his mouth, and along a bunch of other things came out, but that was one heck of a win for Mike.
But you know what? That kind of leads us into this, our K2 Coolers question of the day. What makes some lakes more attractive to anglers than others? I'm going to tell you the Louisiana Delta, if a man was wanting to just go catch numbers of fish, when you get down around Venice, Buras, in down in that area, or over in the Atchafalaya, I'm going to tell you 100, 200 fish days are so possible. You can catch fish after fish after fish after fish. I remember Donnie Akes and I fishing down there.
Is it still like that, though?
Well, now, that I don't know. But I can tell you in Venice, 25 years ago, we started holding a competition to close your eyes and make the most casts that you could without catching a fish. And the most that we could make was 4. Without catching a fish.
I ain't never been on them like that before.
I mean,
pretty good fishing
unreal.
there.
Steve Turrentine was down there, James Akes, and I mean, it was like that every year. Now, you had to wait until the river got down to about 1 or 2 feet when all the water would pull out of the Roseau cane, and then all the fish were in those old canals and stuff like that. And it was just stupid.
So the question,
yeah.
What makes some lakes more attractive to anglers than others? What makes a lake attractive to you?
Well, I think
obviously lots of pound and a half fish.
if I can catch plenty of dinks, I am in great shape.
So back in those days,
and
that's
that don't matter what body water I go to, I can do that.
If we would have carried you to those spots, you would have been in hog heaven.
No doubt, without a doubt.
Like the old Toledo Bend days when the fish would school, acres of fish.
I still think what attracts anglers to this day, more than anything else, is the opportunity to catch that fish of a lifetime. That knowing that when you make that cast on Caddo, or you make that cast at Rayburn, or Lake Fork, or even Toledo Bend now, that could be the fish of a lifetime.
I want to ask Johnny Geis about that, because a guide, especially one of Johnny Geis' renown, everybody's going to tell them, I want to catch a 10-pounder. But when Johnny says it might be the only bite we get today and we might not get a bite.
Yeah. But what did
by
I
doing
tell,
that.
What did I tell Johnny when he asked me that question?
I don't remember.
I want to catch my biggest fish.
Yeah.
It don't have to be a 10.
Yeah.
But I want to catch my biggest.
But
so
I wonder
good.
how often, though, a real guide customer is true to that. They will continue to fish a 12-inch monster worm in 30 foot of water if that's what it's going to take to catch that big.
If you're willing to go out and throw all day long, knowing that you may not get a bite, but you may get one bite, and it could be the biggest fish you're like, I'm your guide.
Really?
Hell yeah, I'll take your money and go out there and not fish all day long without a bite.
And I was say, Mike, you've done some
I'm the guy that can do that all day long without a bite.
But also, as a person that's done some guiding, whether it's been Heartland 1010 or whatever, what do most people that have gotten in a boat with you, a lot of them are just happy to be out there. They just want to catch fish, don't they?
And that's your best customers.
Oh, ain't no doubt.
When you got somebody say, look, I'm just glad not to be working.
Yeah.
Catch a few fish, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Those people really are your best customers.
Right.
But you can ask somebody, you want to catch a lot of fish or do you want to try to catch a big fish? Well, why don't we catch a bunch of fish for the first half of the day and then go catch giants the second half of the day?
Yeah.
Well, why don't I just win the lottery?
Well, you didn't get to fish the Boss Tournament this past weekend because you were putting it on. After you saw the scales at Toledo Bend with the sacks after sacks after sacks, good sacks of fish coming in, what grade on a report card would you give Toledo Bend if you just had to base it on Saturday's performance?
Oh, well, since when I was in school, I never got higher than a C minus. I don't. How high did they get? What's the other grades?
All the way to an A, baby.
Oh, they got A's and A's and B.
Yeah, A's.
Okay, I didn't know that. I'd still have to give Toledo Bend an A, and I just have to say it was A plus this weekend because of timing.
Yeah.
They're a great lake. And if you talk to the fishermen, there was some way of fishing where you could catch 20, 30 fish a day and catch 15 to 18, 19 pounds. Mm-hmm. But there was other ways of fishing where you caught 5 or 6 or 7 fish, and you had that 20-plus pound.
Yeah.
So.
All right, sit tight. We're going to talk to Lake Fork guide Johnny Geis. He's going to tell us what's going on there, talk about some great lakes to be on. We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30, the Tiger.
Do you know about our social network? You can check out our Facebook page at Hook It Up and Tracking Down Show for outdoors news, great educational videos, and product giveaways. This segment presented by Daryl Gleason of South Toledo Bend Guide Service, Cypress Knee Outdoors, and United Rentals, supplying all the tools and equipment you'll ever need to complete your next project. This should be fun. Taco Bueno just delivered some tacos, and the guys, are you guys ready to talk now, or does it need to be my
We need to take
segment?
about a 20-minute break.
Yeah.
Just play music, Jay.
Wait a minute. Taco Bueno is now in Shreveport, and if I heard this correctly, they set the all-time
Opening day record out of 250,000 stores worldwide, intergalactically.
They did $4.3 million in their first hour.
It's just like food you see on a commercial.
Yes.
You know, but that's real food.
Let me hold this up for the TV camera.
Yeah. Dude.
This one's Jay's. This one's Jay. This one's yours.
Feed me now.
See?
Yeah.
How about that, Seymour?
Jay, come out here and pick whichever one you want.
Yeah, come get you one.
As soon as we get Johnny on, I will do that.
Holy cow. This is awesome.
Come on.
Wow.
Johnny
Oh,
Geis,
baby.
Johnny, you're missing out today, buddy.
Lake Fork Guide of the Year. And Johnny, we were talking about this a minute ago. It was our K2 Coolers question of the day. What makes some lakes more attractive to anglers than others? Now, obviously, with Lake Fork, you're dealing with a paradigm there in that, you know, not only could somebody catch a whole bunch of fish, but they could possibly catch the fish of a lifetime. But when you've got that customer that gets in your boat and you've told them, hey, look, I want to help you catch the biggest fish you've ever caught in your life, how often is that person prepared to do and will continue to do all day what it takes to catch a monster fish?
Well, they really have to be a diehard to be that committed to stay with the plan. Bill Scott came over from the McDonald's last year. He wanted to catch a big one. I said, we'll fish brush pile all day. Don't deviate from that, 18, 20 foot. and he caught 3 overs in 4 days of fishing, and that's what it takes.
Wow.
You got to commit.
You just commit.
Yeah.
You got to commit, and you got to stay with the plan, and it can happen. Y'all saw we had a big one last week.
Yeah, 15-pounder.
Yep, 15.24 originally. I think by the time the Parks Wildlife got there, it was 15.4 something official with their scales, and that's really got a lot of activity going on Fork right now.
Are you on the water today?
Well, we ran over to Lake Tawakoni and trying to catch some giant blue cats. They've been this time of year they starting to bite. I'm with Josh Priest, another guide buddy, and he's been catching some big ones over there. But cold front, hard north wind. We've had 2 break off, and we haven't landed one yet. But we're trying to catch some.
Is that part of the Johnny Geist package, is the fact that if somebody wants to go to Tawakoni or somebody wants to go to Fork, somebody wants to go to Monticello, that when they book you, I mean, they can pick that body of water? I mean, will you make that rotation just based on their wants?
And absolutely, not just what lake they want to go on, but, what species they want to go after. We caught 2 drum, 2 big crappie yesterday, so if you want to go drum fishing, I can find those too.
Well, and Johnny, I mean, he'll also like.
Can you eat a goo?
I haven't ever eaten a goo, but we were using it for cut bait this morning on the park. It's pretty good.
The thing with Johnny too, like if you say you book him for Lake Fork, but all of a sudden they're just smoking them at Monticello, he may encourage you, hey, why don't we go over to Monticello and wet a hook instead of over here at Lake Fork right now? So that's what I like about the fact that he knows where they're biting and what you need to do to go catch them.
Johnny,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to say we've had this front. You're talking about this affecting the catfish. Even we've had this front come in Sunday night, and I fished yesterday. No, it came in Monday night. And water temperatures dropped. Does this set back the fish just a little bit?
Well, it didn't run them out. They just got real tight in the bushes right now, and we've got a good early bunch of fish moved up, and tomorrow I plan to just flip willows all day. I mean, I was talking about that earlier. Little mats going on. These fish pull tight into the bushes, and where they were out there roaming and chasing a little bit. But this is the second day after the front, usually the toughest day. It'll be back to south wind a little bit tomorrow, not much wind, and it ought to be an outstanding day.
If somebody were headed to Lake Fork right now and was just going to, just try it on their own, what would you tell them, head straight to the bushes, or would you tell them that, to probably play off the bushes a little bit? Where would you drive that person?
Well, definitely I'd get into the known spawning creeks where their water's a little warmer. I found some 64-degree water yesterday in the very back end of Cove. We had a lot of rain and water got high and it got muddy, but it's starting to clear out a little bit now. But if somebody was just coming to fish Fork, they can throw something like a chatterbait or a little swim bait, search bait, and find something, get a bite, and then you can get with soft plastic, weightless fluke or Cinco to catch the numbers. I think the guy caught the 15-24 on a black and blue jig fishing in the bushes. So.
That's got to be one of the toughest things to do. You come into an area like that, and you're catching them on a spinnerbait, and, they're all ranging 2.5 pounds, something like that. It's really hard to make yourself put that spinnerbait down and then back off a little bit and try to catch them with those soft plastics. But, I mean, you know for a fact that's going to be the winning ticket for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, right now, even if I'm catching a little buck bass with the females, just any day to move in to get on the nest that they're searching for and probably nesting up with. The other day I had that 947, and it came where we just caught 10 or 15 little buck bass. So you just get in the banks, 5 foot or less water right now, and fish hard on Lake Fork. You get a chance to fish of a lifetime.
So this could very well be on for now through the next full moon.
It will be. In fact, through now to the end of April. And, the lake's in better shape than we've had any spring I remember in the last 7 or 8 years. I mean, we've been through a drought, and water's a little bit over pool. They've about got it pulled down the pool right now, and once they close that last gate, it's fixing to turn on big time.
How's your grass situation, Johnny?
We don't have any hydrilla, but we got some grass, muskrat grass, or we call it char, I think is what the technical name of it is. But when you find that and water's a little stained, you really don't see it as much right now as you were when it was clear. But when you can see that on your depth finder, that's you're around where the fish are at, the feeding fish are at right now.
Johnny, if somebody came over there to fish with you right now, and with the mornings being cool, and you would probably say, and with the moon phase we're in right now, 10, 11 o'clock to 3 or 4 probably going to be the best time to catch fish. Could you start off in the morning and expect to catch the white bass? If they just wanted to get warmed up and catch some fish, could you catch white bass first and then go try to target the big bass?
Right now, and usually I'm on top of the white bass. We tried it hard yesterday, just scouting around. Finally caught one. I think because of all the high water and the runoff we've got in the creeks, that we've had the first time in a while that our sand bass, white bass, have been able to go up the creek. I think they made the trip up to do the spawn because they had a lot of current, and they usually don't have that. Usually they have to spawn on windy points and road beds and stuff like that. But right now, I'm sticking with the bass. White bass are not where they need to be yet.
Okay, somebody wants to take advantage of this. Here in the next 30 days, have you got any openings in your schedule?
Well, I do have a pretty full week open next week. I had a couple days cancel out at spring break, and I usually have just slap booked up for spring break. But if anybody over there has got any youngsters out and want to come out and catch a big fish, or wives or mom and dads, or just two hardcore bass fishermen, we can get it done. And next week's open, and a few more days in March. But it's time to get to Lake Fork if you want the fish of a lifetime, because they're fat and healthy right now.
What's the best way? I mean, you could go to lakeforkbigfish.com, obviously, is your website. But what would you say is the number one tool that people use to book Johnny Geis?
I like to get a direct phone call. If they'll just call, I'll flip up to my calendar real quick, and I usually try to take the calls when they come in. If not, I'll call them right back. And make sure we're on the same sheet of music, how many people's coming, what time they want to fish, and mainly what they're trying to, what kind of lures, how they want to catch them, and that's what we're focused on. But call me at area code 972. It's 800-3882. Area code's 972-800-3882, and do our best to put you on your biggest fish ever.
And now, one thing that you also can accommodate is if somebody's got they want to take a number of clients, or maybe the whole office or something like that. They might have 10, 12 anglers. You're able to take care of that as well, aren't you?
Yeah, usually we share trips around. If we get need 3 or 4 boats, we've got guide buddies that can help out if they're not booked, and that works good. But I can fish up to 4 to 5 in my boat alone right now, and be pretty effective with the technique, because they're in shallow, and we're not doing a lot of big time casting. But for 4 or 5 people fishing close like I do, we can carry a load.
And the summer is going to be unbelievable. Johnny Geis, Lake Fork Guide of the Year. Check him out at lakeforkbigfish.com. That phone number again, Johnny?
972-800-3882. It's time for you guys to come too. Put it on your list.
Hey, we're headed that way. We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30. Hang on just a sec. Now we got one other thing we got to remind you of.
Okay, now if you're going to Lake Fork, whether you're on your own or whether you're going to go over there and fish with the greatest guy in the world, Johnny Geis, you got to have a place to stay. And there's no better place to stay than Lake Fork Marina. Over 30 years as a full-service resort. Great accommodations, from full-size hotel rooms to cabins, and a scenic RV park overlooking the lake. It's got internet service, guest laundry, and an incredible restaurant, Tiffany's, with the best hamburger in the world. Tackle store with all the top name brands. Go to lakeforkmarina.com to learn more about the #1 resort on Lake Fork.
We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30, the Tiger.
That's right, here comes one more hour of the Hooking Up and Tracking Down show. This segment presented by Commercial Power Equipment, the Red River Waterway Commission, Stingray Line Cutter, and Espino and Jim's Big South Tire, your tire supply headquarters with the best prices and the best service. All right, take it away, guys, if you can speak with the Taco Bueno in your mouth.
Taco Bueno, thank you so very much. I understand why this Taco Bueno in Shreveport broke the all-time record for the opening day of a Taco Bueno. Holy cow. If you have not done lunch yet, you need to hit a Taco Bueno. But keep us locked in because Greg Hackney is going to be here in just a sec. I got to remind you about K2 Coolers. Are we giving away another one of the K2 Coolers on our Facebook page, Steve? Is that the case?
We better be. They got a picture on there.
Well,
Yeah, yes.
okay.
Summit 30.
Let me tell you right now, I love my K2 Cooler. If you are looking for something that'll keep your ice or, your fish, beer, whatever you got, if you're looking for something to stay cold in there, something that's durable, something that you can beat up, something that Mike's dog can kick around in the back of the truck or whatever, it's your K2 Cooler, a Louisiana-made product, real cooler at a real affordable price. Great for tailgating, hunting trips, fishing, family getaways. And again, like I said, on our Facebook page, Hooking Up, Tracking Down, follow the instructions there. You could win a brand new K2 Cooler yourself. If you're looking to purchase one, go to Paul's Farm and Garden, North Market in Shreveport, or go to K2Coolers.com. And he said he was going to be our Huckleberry today. Greg Hackney on the phone, the Hack Attack, getting ready for the Bassmasters Classic. This is the one. You're going to go ahead and just put them away the first day, right? Just weigh 60 pounds that first day and then just eat lunch the next 2 days?
Yeah, that sounds like a winner.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to get Taco Bueno.
Hey!
There you go. Well,
Have you got a Taco Bueno down there?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Greg, first
You
of
need
all, thank you for subbing in for Mike Iaconelli.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're second fiddle now. I just want you to understand that.
Yeah, I know.
So, now tell me, as a man, because this ain't your first rodeo, as you prepare for the Classic, is it, just like preparing for any other tournament, or is there other mental stuff that goes on?
Well, like tackle-wise and all that, I think you prepare for it like you would any other tournament. There's something about experience, and, anytime you do the same thing more than once and over, it just, things get easier about that part of it. The biggest difference between the Classic and any other tournament is, it is the Classic.
Amen.
I mean, it's a different event. It's the pinnacle of the sport. It mentally it puts you in a different place from any. When we got an Elite Series event coming up, say next week, it'd be like, all pumped up, ready to go. It's a total different feeling when Bassmaster Classic week comes around.
Well, the biggest difference is, I'm not speaking from experience. If you know you're fixing to pay the bills for a year off an elite win, that's one thing. But if you know you're fixing to pay the bills for the rest of your life off the Classic win,
yeah,
that's got to mess with your mind.
Yeah, and honestly, the Classic means that much.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some great anglers out there that have never won Classic, still had great careers, but it's just something about a Classic win that, definitely puts you in a place that only the Classic can do. Only a Classic win can do that. I mean, it's a special event that it's one of the hardest tournaments to qualify for, or if it is the hardest tournament there is out there to qualify for. And,
But Greg,
to win one of them. I don't know what that would feel like, but I'm ready to try it.
okay, and you make a good point. What I would like to know, a win for Jordan Lee last year, does it mean as much for him as it would, say, for you or somebody else that's older and been in it longer?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say that. I mean, each individual is different.
Right.
This, regardless, the deal with Jordan winning the Classic, he will always be a Classic champ.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Chances are, as great a fisherman as Jordan is, he'll be around for. I'll be long gone, and he'll still be fishing.
Yeah.
And regardless, if he doesn't win another one or he wins 9 more, the first one is that important. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
right.
It's one of those things that nobody can take from you. So regardless of how he does the rest of his career, he will always have been the Classic champion.
Yeah.
It's just that special.
You being the age that you are now, what number is this for the Classics for you? How many will this be?
Maybe 15, I think.
Okay. So if you could go back and talk to that Greg Hackney who was about to get ready for that first Classic, what would you tell that Greg that you know now?
Well, hindsight's 20/20.
Sure it is. But you've got an opportunity now to talk to that kid.
Maybe the main thing is just be yourself and do what you do every day, and don't really make any changes. And that's easier said than done, because again, the Classic puts you in a place mentally that no other event does. So it's hard to explain that, but it's just different. It kind of takes you out of your normal routine, in that you practice a week before, then all the things that go on during Classic week other than the tournament. It's hard to fish the Classic as a regular event. Really, to do well, that's really what you need to do.
So
the Classic needs to be fished like any other tournament.
Yeah.
But mentally, it's hard to do that.
But you've got so many other requirements. I mean, for crying out loud, you're Greg Hackney. You've got press and you've got fans, and those are the things that you really do such an incredible job with. Obviously, you are, the ace of spades when it gets out on the water, but you have those other skills that you bring to that, and because of that, it has so much more demand on your time, your mental attention, those kinds of things. Have you figured that part out? Is that something that you would have advised to that young Greg Hackney? Is, again, doing what you do, be you, but try to allocate a little more time for one particular set or another?
Well, I think another thing that, honestly, that a guy fishing is, all right, so it's a double-edged sword. So a guy fishing his first Classic, he's got pressure on him and it's the Classic, but there are a lot of outside pressures that a guy that's fished his 10th Classic will have that the guy fishing his first one doesn't have. I'll be honest with you, I feel sure that's one of the things that played into Jordan Lee's hand, is that, he just went fishing.
Yeah.
Wasn't really, what I'm saying?
Nobody expected him to win.
That's right. So in a way, that's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Also, he's not putting any extra pressure on himself. He hasn't been to 10 Classics without a win. He's just there enjoying the moment.
And on that final day, he had no expectation. On
Right.
that final day, he had no expectation to win. It just happened. And
he was in a great position because,
right.
Honestly, he had a breakdown. I feel like that's part, a lot of things went right for him. You would think a breakdown would just completely, it's the Classic, I'm broke down, I can't move. But honestly, that was actually ended up being a positive. He just sat on one place.
Greg, another direction I want to go with you on this, because this is something that is, as somebody that fished Rayburn this past weekend, and the overcrowding of these lakes and waterways is absolutely insanity right now. Whether it's Rayburn, Toledo Bend, Hartwell, whatever's coming up.
We're victims of our own success, is what you're saying.
Exactly. But how are you guys on the Elite Series? Do you foresee lakes actually having to be reserved in order to eliminate the public and other competition from these lakes? I'm telling you, it is absolutely crazy now what the pressure that's going on these bodies of water.
Well, and that's another thing that's happening with the Classic. Honestly, when it was in February, there wasn't as much of a chance of that, and really the big reason was the weather was so bad, nobody wanted to be there.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
We've had several of these February Classics where, water temperature was in the 30s, daytime temperatures around freezing, and honestly, when you fish when the weather's like that, you don't have near as many people to compete with.
Right, that's true.
So, but now we're fishing, basically spring break, when everybody wants to get on the water. I always joke that, March is the month out of the year, it'll be one of the few times where you see 4 people casting a lizard out of the same boat. People that fish during the spring that don't fish the rest of the year.
Right.
It's prime time. That's when fishing is the best. And, honestly, like all these crowded fisheries and all this, honestly, it seems like bass fishing and tournament bass fishing right now is at an all-time high.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that, honestly, it's probably as big as it's ever been, or bigger, with these high school tournaments, the college tournaments, the normal weekend deals. I mean, there's just a lot of people fishing.
Yes.
How much?
Take a Toledo Bend, a Rayburn. These places are also on upswings as far as fisheries, and everybody wants a chance at that giant bass.
How much does that play into the Greg Hackney game, where you're having to deal with other anglers? And I know the spectator thing is one thing, but how often are you having to change what you're doing because someone else is trying to catch fish there as well?
Honestly, on a normal Elite Series event, that probably hadn't been as big a deal lately because we'll fish the majority of the event during the week.
Yeah.
And then you realistically only end up with 50 guys on Saturday and then 12 guys on Sunday, which there's a lot less interaction with local anglers when you cut down on the number of people out there.
Mm-hmm.
I could see this Hartwell Classic, that being an issue because, this is the deal. Honestly, we're going to be there at, there's a chance we're fixing to hit the nail on the head. And what I mean by that is, we're fixing to light down at Hartwood, honestly, one of the better places that we get the opportunity to fish. And we're going to hit that nail on the head, and there's people going to want to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People are going to want to go fishing. And, so it could be a little issue. One of the good things about that is the last couple times we've been to Hartwell, it seems like, people knew that the Classic was going on, and there wasn't that many fishing on the lake. But again, on the other side, it was 10 degrees.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Right.
So, it's hard to say, honestly. You always kind of hope for bad weather, rain or something, and that always cuts down on some of the traffic. That's about the only time I prefer, some bad weather to fish in is to kind of cut down. But Hartwell's a giant lake. One of the bigger venues we go. It would eat up our normal Elite Series field. So, it's got plenty of room. So, that's just something you got to deal with, I guess. You know what? You just got to turn everything into a positive. If there are a lot of people on the lake, you got to use that to your advantage.
But isn't that hard?
Area of the lake that there's not many people, and that's where the winning Classic bag is found. So
Isn't that hard to pull off, though? If you ever had to be a butthead, have you ever had a situation, because a couple of the anglers ran into that with the Elite the last time that it was down here on Toledo. There were guys that were coming in and fishing a hole right after the angler had left, or wouldn't get out of the way, crowding them. And has Greg, because you're one of the nicest guys on the tour, have you ever had to say, "Hey, look, buddy, you got to back off. I'm trying to make a living here"?
There's been a rare occasion or two in my career, maybe where somebody, done that. But all in all, there were some situations. I saw some things go down. There's a handful of places that we go in the country, where you see a little bit of that. But all in all, people are pretty good about that. And again, I'll be honest with you, I don't have a lot of issues with that, and I've always felt like that was the way I fished. More times than not, I just don't fish around a lot of people, whether it be locals and I take all that consideration when I'm practicing. If I'm seeing a lot of locals in an area, typically that means it's a good area, and it's going to draw a lot of attention. And,
Well, I know.
It kind of goes back to the deal. You don't have to be on the mother load if you're not sharing the water with anybody.
Oh, good point. That's
Yeah.
a good point. Really good point.
But
Yeah.
I do know of a situation where Greg was on Red River because I was fishing against Greg in that event. It was an open.
How'd that come out for you?
Well, I did okay. All right. But Greg had a chance to win the event, and a guy that I happened to know was sitting on his hole where he could have actually won the tournament. Isn't that right, Greg?
Well, it happens.
Yeah, it does happen. It does happen.
And it happens.
If you don't mind, I want to get you to hang out with us a couple of more minutes because we've got some other questions. As you get ready for this, and I understand how valuable your time is. So if you don't mind, we want to get just a few more minutes with you.
Okay, no problem.
We'll send you a taco.
Yeah, no doubt. From Taco Bueno is coming. Greg Hackney preparing for, we think, the 15th Bassmasters Classic. I mean, he is a seasoned pro. He's one of our Louisiana homeboys. He is up next, hooking up, tracking down 11:30. The Tiger.
Get up on your high horse, woman. I'll make it up to you somehow. Get up on your high horse, woman.
We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30 The Tiger. Gary McCoy, along with the old Ranger pro staffer Steve Graff. The Mud Hen Mike Eccles is in the house. And, of course, none of this show would be possible without Taco Bueno.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to go there if you didn't.
No, this show could not happen if we didn't feed Jay, the board-opinest, best-looking,
Say it again.
most athletic, fish-catchingest, deer-killingest, turkey-callingest,
I'm batting 1,000 in fish and deer shooting. I'm 1 for
Taco
1.
Bueno eatingest.
Batting 1,000.
Yeah, producer in the whole wide world, pushes all the right buttons. He takes this show to a completely different level. It's this segment brought to you by Daiwa Rods and Reels, Bayou Outdoors Supercenter, Groove Fishing, Seagar Fishing Line, and Rayburn Country Resort. It's an East Texas community and golf destination at Lake Sam Rayburn. Come for the weekend, stay for a lifetime. Book your next getaway at RayburnCountryResort.com. Favorite lake? We got Greg Hackney on the phone. Favorite lake that Greg Hackney gets to fish as an elite pro?
Oh, wow. You know, hopefully Hartwell will be my favorite lake.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What about that private body of water down there in South Louisiana?
Gros Savon, yeah, definitely is a.
That's it, Mike.
Yeah.
It's a destination that, you know, honestly, I haven't had the opportunity to go there this year, but I get a rumor that I may be going in a couple weeks, so I'm pretty fired up about that. It's always, you know, the deal about Gros Savon is it's not only the fishing. I mean, the fishing is world class, but the other deal with it is it's a world class accommodations. The food's great. And honestly, it's just a cool place to unwind and hang out.
What makes it? What's the waterway? What makes that place so good?
You know, basically the climate. You know, the South Louisiana to me is, as far as climate goes, for an all around, you know, all year long growing season. You know, it's a lot like Florida. It's a very fertile body of water. You know, they have, you know, tons of bait fish, tons of tons of crawfish. And the fish grow real fast. You know, basically a fish, you know, Gros Savon is south of Lake Charles. And, you know, realistically, a fish grows 11 months out of the year.
Yeah.
So anytime you have that, you know, instead of having 3-pounders that are 5 years old, you have 3-pounders that are 2 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and then at 5-year-old fish is 7-8 pounds. And, you know, when you have that fast growth rate like that, just a lot of, every time I've been there, it's just been tons and tons of, you know, 3 to 6 pounders, which is just a blast.
Well, it's
a great place. I actually went there on a duck hunt. They have world class duck hunting, and the first time I went there, I didn't even know they had bass fishing. I know, they have great inshore saltwater fishing and duck hunting, and they were like, "You want to try some bass fishing out here?" And in like a 2-hour period, I mean, I don't remember how many bass we caught, 30 or 40, and 5 over 5 pounds, and that was in the pond right by the house.
That was you and Mark Zona. Yeah.
I mean, it was incredible. And then that same afternoon, there were some guys went to the big lake, and with red-eye shad, in like a 4-hour period, the two of them with a clicker caught 200 bass. It was in November. Just insane,
That's
and I was
stupid.
like, wow.
But now, is it a private? Is it a lake, or is it a delta system that's on private ground?
It's actually both. They have, I think they have like 15,000 acres of marsh, which is connected to the Louisiana Delta. It's where they do a lot of their inshore saltwater fishing. Also, lots of bass in that area. And then the lakes where I've done most of the bass fishing there are actually private lakes on land. They've got roughly 700 or 800 acres of lakes they've built on the property that they own. They're one of the largest landowners in Southwest Louisiana. I think roughly they own maybe 40,000 acres. I'm not sure. I'm throwing that
starving
number
to
out
death, aren't they?
Well, you know what?
Yeah, they raise crawfish. They're rice farmers. They have thousands and thousands of head of cows. I mean, it's basically a working farm, and that they sell some duck hunts on, and then have some great bass fishing.
I'm glad that you brought that up because I wanted to talk politics with you for just a minute.
Sure.
BASS says now on the bordering bodies of water that you can't fish Louisiana. You got to stay in Texas.
Yeah, this is the deal. This is what there is some private land in Louisiana. We all know that. All right, but there's more fishable water in the Louisiana Delta than there is in most states in the United States.
Amen.
Period. Acreage of water. So, basically by bass doing that, what they were doing was just cutting out any gray area and cutting back on things they would have to worry about. But there's plenty fishing in Louisiana. There's plenty public fishing in Louisiana. Again, there's more public water in the Louisiana Delta than most states have to offer in the entire state. So I really hated that. I feel like it's really going to wad a lot of our guys up in that event because of that. Not that Texas is a bad area to fish, but it's just cool having a tournament on the border like that when you can fish both states, and half the guys go to Texas, another half go to Louisiana, and you pretty much taking Louisiana, basically out of the equation, which, I'm not real happy about that. I understand the reason Bass did it because there's been a handful of issues in the past where, one guy said a guy was fishing on private water and he said he wasn't. Again, it was some gray area matter, and they, basically by eliminating Louisiana, they just eliminated them having to worry.
Do you think this will take Louisiana completely out of the classic equation down the road? I mean, no more classic.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's not taking Louisiana. I mean, there's an open coming to the Red River this year. I mean, I just recently fished in an open at Morgan City. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, we're for sure we'll go back to Toledo. Will we have another classic in New Orleans? I don't foresee that anytime in the near future.
Right.
Yeah.
I could see another classic, in Shreveport.
Yeah.
The Butler area, without a doubt, but I don't really see one happening in New Orleans anytime soon. And a lot of it will be that reason because there's so many areas now that, that there is a chance that you could fish on private property.
Well, Greg, when y'all go to those big cities like Houston last year or like New Orleans, it just doesn't seem to draw the attention that it does in a Shreveport or a Birmingham. Does it? And do you know the reason? I mean, I know they went there to Houston.
Are y'all just another event then?
Yeah, I mean, just another event. But
I don't really know how to say this in a nice way, but they're not fishing communities.
Right.
Yeah.
There are a lot of fishermen around New Orleans, no doubt, but there are probably more red fishermen than there are bass fishermen.
Exactly. Right.
When you take Houston's not really known for fishing. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And you take Shreveport, not only do you draw from a huge area in Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, you got about 3 states there because it's so centrally located. that you're drawing fishermen from 3 different areas. And of course, Birmingham, is a huge fishing area in Alabama. Not quite as big a fan of college football as we are in Louisiana, but they do have lots of fishermen.
Hey, Greg,
but
it takes a certain number of elements to bring the Classic to a city. Okay, the city puts up the money, or the community puts up the money. BAS accepts it. They've got the venues. They've got the waterway. They've got the convention centers. They've got everything they need.
Motel accommodations.
Got everything. And the Classic goes off good. There's some fish caught, but the community doesn't support it. They don't show up in certain areas. How big of impact is that on whether the Classic would come back? Does the Classic have to have those crowds at the sports shows, at the convention centers and stuff to make it a success? Or once they're funded and you have it and you get the TV coverage and you make the shows, is it pretty well taken care of, or do you have to have that public attendance?
Yeah, I think the main thing you have to have is the public attendance. All right, so this is the deal. Someone paid the Classic to be there. And you need that public attendance for the two to work out. All that money they paid to have the Classic in that city, it really helps that, you're the main selling point of the Classic. Hey, we're going to draw thousands of people to your city. And, that's the reason the Classic has a high price tag.
Yeah.
I mean, money's realistically, money's what makes the world go round.
Amen.
And that's really, and you got to have that support, I think, to go back. It's a funny thing. Take the Sabine River. Honestly, one of the largest turnouts we'll have for any event we have. Now, fishing-wise, we know that's going to be a low-weight event. It is every time we've been there. But we continue to go back there because there's probably as much support around Orange, Texas as any place we have an Elite Series event.
Yeah.
I mean, some record-setting crowds show up on a body of water where 10 pounds is a big bag.
Yeah.
The first time the Classic was here on the Red, we broke the all-time attendance record that had been previously held in New Orleans. And yet the fishery's not quite what it was. Well, it's not even a shadow of it once was. Is there a possibility the Classic could ever come back because of that attendance that we had?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I could definitely foresee the Classic in the next 2 or 3 years being back on the Red River.
Yeah, I do too.
Because of that. I mean, I'll be honest with you, that's the reason the Classic is back in Greenville, South Carolina. I think they were only second in attendance to the Shreveport-Bossier area.
Wow. Well, Greg, obviously, luck is always with you. I think you carry luck in your hip pocket everywhere you go, so there's no need to wish you good luck. But, brother, I want you to know how much we appreciate you. What an incredible ambassador for the great state of Louisiana. And everywhere you go, you take us with you, and we love the places that you go, brother.
Well, I appreciate it, and I appreciate y'all having me on. I know I wasn't, first on the list to be on today. But,
we've had you on so many times, Greg. It's kind of getting old hat.
Zona told us that, he was tired of hearing you on the Hook It Up and Track It Down show.
And your ears are probably burning when Zona's on, I'm telling you.
You know what? I think we need to get you guys some gloves. I'd love to see the two of y'all in a ring one day.
No, we need to get both of them on the show at the same time.
Yes.
We need both y'all on at the same time.
Oh, we got to clear up all the rumors on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he's been lying on me.
Greg Hackney, thank you, and dude, set the world on fire. Let us talk to you again the Wednesday after that Classic, as you're still reeling in the glories of having won it.
I hope we have that opportunity.
Brother, thank you again.
Thank you, Greg.
We look forward to the next time. Greg Hackney, of course, Louisiana's own Elite Series pro. Wouldn't you say that Hackney is one of, for certain, of the top 5 in the world of professional fishing right now?
I would say that, yes. And not because he's from Louisiana. He is literally one of the top 5 anglers, I think.
Who else would you? You'd have to put Kevin Van Dam in there. Hackney. Who else? Who are the other 3? Top 5.
Brent Ayler. Brent Ayler's an outstanding angler.
Yeah, but he's not in the top 5.
He's close.
No.
Well, would you say Gerald Swindle?
No.
No? Even winning Angler of the Year?
No.
He just had a good year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Love
good
him to
year.
death. He just had a good year.
Who would go in? Would Iaconelli go in there?
He'd be yes.
Maybe.
He might do it. Yeah.
Maybe.
So you got 3. You need 2 more.
The worst interview in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Ain't
Aaron
doubt.
Martin.
Aaron Martin's is
Yeah.
definitely in
More
the top
second
5.
place finishes in the BAS tournament than anybody else, just about.
Yeah.
He's
Second
definitely
place.
one of the top
Okay, we got
5.
1 slot to fill. Who is it?
Edwin Evers would be in close. He'd be close.
What about the boy that has all the? He was also a California guy.
Skeet Reese.
Skeet Reese. No.
Skeet Reese is kind
Kinda
of falling off.
fallen
Yeah.
off?
Yeah, that's why I think I'm telling you, Brent Ayler is one of the definitely top guys out there right now.
Brent who?
Here in a minute, outdoor news. We got it for you. We are loaded for bear. Hook it up and track it down. 11:30. The Tiger.
When you're heading for the lake Saturday morning, tune your dial to 1130 The Tiger from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. for more of the Hook It Up and Tracking Down show. This segment presented by Bob Seeley Big Bash Splash Series, Wildwood Resort at Toledo Bend, Natchitoches Ford, and Bass Cash Bash. Don't be that guy who forgot to register and cash in on a great tournament circuit. Go to basscashbash.com to register today. Now back to the men who will never be that guy, Gary, Steve, and Mike.
You're going to have to clean that microphone after that.
Well,
Bass
you
Cash
ain't
Bash.
lying. The whole thing.
It's got
Big
Taco
Bash,
Bueno all over it
Big
now.
Bass Splash Series.
Taco
Bass-
Bueno.
Taco Bueno. I'm not complaining, though. No.
Taco Bueno, you just rock.
Well, here's your Taco Bueno best time to fish. No, no, your Daiwa Rods and Reels best time to fish this weekend, and I believe it, is rated as poor all 3 days. High temperatures will be in the lower 70s with the lows dropping down into the 40s by Sunday. There's a 90% chance of rain on Saturday. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
And a 50% on Sunday. Saturday and Sunday. Okay, the weekend will be under a half moon going out. We had a full moon last weekend. Best times, early morning. Don't forget to run your clocks back forward as we switch over daylight savings time. this coming Saturday night at midnight. Friday, best times to fish will be 4:48 to 7:48 a.m. Sunrise will be 6:29, sunset 6:16. Saturday, 5:36 to 8:36 a.m. Sunrise will be 6:28, sunset 6:16. Sunday, 7:24 to 10:24 a.m. Sunrise 7:27, sunset 7:17. This has been your your Daiwa rods and reels. Best time to fish.
Okay, question: Have you ever read that and then kept it in your mind? Oh, the fishing's going to be poor this weekend, and then you go to the lake and set the world on fire.
The only thing,
or have you ever heard it was
I don't
excellent?
put stock into the excellent or poor or really very good part.
Yeah.
Where I put the stock in is what times that they may be feeding the best time.
Ah.
That's what I put.
You want to
stock
be
in.
on your best spot during the
that's what
peak
I try
feed.
to do. Right.
What about
I want
you,
to be on
Mike?
my best dink spot that's out there.
What about you, Mike?
I try not to, if which I don't do it very
Is that
much
ice
anymore.
cream?
Huh?
No, that's refried beans, baby.
Oh, okay. I thought it was chocolate ice cream.
You ever had
Get
ice
that.
cream make you
He was
fart?
about to get jealous. I didn't get no ice cream.
Yeah, where's mine? I'm the birthday
So,
boy.
are you,
I
are
ain't
you
no
through
ice
with
cream.
yours?
Taco
Are you
Bueno
through with
cream.
this?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna heat that up when we're through.
Crap.
Put
Okay.
me
Hey, you
straight
can have
off.
mine.
What was my question? No,
You
I
can-
just want to guac.
I know. You can have my guacamole. Thank
what
you,
was the question?
Taco Bueno.
If I'm fishing a tournament, the last thing I want is to have in my mind that the fish are not going to be biting
Good
at
point.
a certain time.
Yeah,
Good
exactly.
point.
That's
yeah.
true.
Good
now,
point.
The flip side of that is if you know they're supposed to be biting at a certain time, then you probably need to be on your best
Right.
spot then.
That's
but
what I try to do.
you can't just be out there saying, "Well, they're not supposed. I'm not catching them, and that's because they're not supposed to be biting."
Yeah.
You know, then you've given up.
Oh yeah.
A little
You're
pointer,
right.
and I know we got some outdoor news to get to, but a little pointer here. And this is one of the things that those classic contenders like Greg Hackney are so good at. How long will you fish, Mike, without getting a bite before you make a change, whether it's lure, presentation, location? How long will you go without getting a bite before you say, what I'm doing ain't working?
I have been known to stay with the same bait without getting a bite for as much as 15 or 20 minutes for a change.
Really?
Yeah.
Solid 15 minutes, huh?
Yeah. I think that I think that's probably one of the things that makes a great angler. It is, and I don't know how to do it, but that right there is to know when. Yeah. Are they not biting what I'm throwing?
Yeah.
Or are they not biting where I'm throwing it?
Right.
Who's the better fisherman, you or your brother Claude?
Okay, let's see. Claude has won 8 boats, and I've won a plaque.
Now what's Claude's forte? Is he a jig guy? What's he like to do?
He's just a good fisherman. Period. He's
versatile.
I tell you what, he doesn't do. He doesn't let.
He doesn't listen to this show.
He does listen to this show.
Yeah, he does.
He listens every week.
He does not let pressure get to him.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't
He's
bother
never in a hurry, and he had people all over him Saturday when he won the tournament, and he just started doing something a little bit different. He didn't have but 9 bites.
Yeah.
Hooked 7 of them and landed all 7 of them, which is the difference in winning and losing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But he didn't get mad when people got close to him, and he just.
And how many guys will spin out on that?
Oh,
Yeah.
there's 3 of us right here.
Exactly.
All right, some
Bueno, me.
outdoor news for you. You remember the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries agent who was shot? Was that 2 years ago?
Has it been 2? It might have been 2 years.
I think it was 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
I think you're right.
Well, Amethyst Baird Rathor, 32 of Monroe, was sentenced March the 2nd, just last week, by Judge Carl V. Sharp of the 4th Judicial District Court for 60 years in prison without the possibility of parole for attempted first-degree murder of a police officer for shooting LDWF senior agent Tyler Wheeler. Rathor also received 40 years for obstruction of justice, 10 years for illegal possession of a stolen vehicle, another 10 years for illegal possession of a stolen firearm, all of which will run concurrently.
She's going to be close to Social Security time she gets out.
Yeah. Senior Agent Wheeler, who was only 25 years of age at the time, was shot 4 times, including once in the head and once in the back by Rathor around 2 a.m., January the 7th. Now, it doesn't give the year. It was Highway 165 between Sterlington and Bastrop in Morehouse Parish. After numerous surgeries and countless hours of physical therapy, Wheeler was cleared to return to full-time duty back late last July.
Yeah.
So it had to have been 2 years ago.
And we had him on, and he just a good guy, good person.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder what goes through someone's head like this woman. Why would
Crack.
you think? Why would you probably?
Yeah.
Why would you think that that's the answer?
Some mind-altering drug. Yeah, you're right. All right. Body recovered from Caddo in Caddo Parish, March 2nd. LDWF agents and Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office recovered the deceased body of Jack Cobb, 33, from Wallace Lake, and turned it over to the Caddo Parish Coroner's Office to determine an official cause of death. The LDWF agents were alerted about the missing boater around 8:30 p.m. on February 23rd near the Cypress Garden boat launch on Wallace Lake. You guys may know where that's at. I don't fish Wallace.
You can't fish Wallace hardly anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Salvinia's so bad.
Really?
You know, my son tried to duck hunt it last year and couldn't
doesn't
duck
part
hunt.
of that come into I-49?
The Wallace Lake bottoms are close. In fact, our friend that's passed on now, Dan Wilhelm, owned that property right there where Wallace Lake got close to to 49.
When authorities arrived on the scene, they found the submerged 11-foot P-row and backpack belonging to Cobb. LDWF will lead the investigation agency for the fatal boating accident. No personal flotation devices were found in the P-row or on Cobb's body. So, sad deal. Sad deal.
Okay, $5,500 reward offered for information on dead black bears, as in plural. Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries enforcement agents are seeking leads. They hadn't caught them yet. For 2 illegally killed black bears in the St. Mary Parish. A citizen alerted authorities on February the 14th, 2018, about a dead black bear that was located off the Humble Canal in a marshy area about 10 miles south of Franklin. Agents responded to the scene and found another dead black bear about a mile and a half away from the first reported black bear. A necropsy revealed that both the adult male bears were shot and illegally killed around February the 2nd to the 4th, which was on a weekend. Human Society of the United States, the Arcadia chapter of the Safari Club International, the Safari Club International Foundation, and LDWF Operations Game Thief programs are teaming up to offer a reward totaling $5,500 to anyone with information that leads to the arrest and the conviction of persons responsible for the illegal killing of these black bears. Anyone with information regarding this illegal killing should call the Louisiana Operation Game Thief hotline at 1-800-422-2511, 2511, or use LDWF's TIP 411 program. You know, if it was just one bear, doesn't matter. You still did it, you're wrong.
Right. Yeah.
If it was just one bear, the majority of the time that happens, somebody shoots a Louisiana black bear that's not very big, thinking it's a wild hog.
Right.
Yeah.
You still screwed up.
Yeah.
But the fact that
I've been impressed with Louisiana people who have turned themselves in on that. They called the game warden.
Yeah, exactly.
And said, you know what, I did this.
I made
This
a
was
mistake.
me.
Yep.
And you know what, you have to kudos. Obviously, you have screwed up, and probably is not. For misidentifying an animal like that. A lot of leases, hunting leases groups are going to say, hey, look, you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Because that could have been a kid.
Yeah.
That could have been anything. Identify your prey before you pull the trigger.
There you go.
But the fact is that these people have manned up in a lot of cases and said, that was me. I did that.
Yep.
I owe the fine, whatever the case might be. And we've seen it time and time and time again. But in order for a situation like this, when somebody has done this, that's, to me, a new low.
You're on Uncle Gary's property in Grand Cane.
Yeah.
You pull the trigger. You walk down there and you think you killed a hog. You walk down there and it's a black bear. It's on Uncle Gary's property.
Right.
What do?
Somebody is fixing to take the heat on that. Do you think I'm going to leave my poor old uncle out there to pay the price for that? No.
But you could very easily drag it someplace and cover it up. And nobody's going to go in there and find. I mean,
It's just not in me to do that.
I got to put my head on a pillow at night. You know,
Exactly. That's a great point.
well, I do too, but I don't want it in a cot with Bruno sleeping beside me.
We are hooking up and tracking down.
And we're sad.
Yes, we are. And Eccles is obviously not the deacon of this group. 11:30, the Tiger.
Well, I was a kid when Elvis died.
The Hook It Up and Tracking Down Show thanks you for tuning us in today. This segment presented by Nichols Department Stores, Spro Lures, K2 Coolers, and Gamakatsu Hooks. The hooks that put fish in the boat and anglers in the winner's circle. One more time, here's Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and Steve Graff.
And we got a few, one word here from Groove Fishing. Tackle storage is changing, and Groove Fishing is leading the way. Magnetic closure, silicone pads, and inserts for jigs and crankbait storage. The crankbait box keeps baits in place. No more tangle hooks or chip paint. Tough and durable storage is the best way to describe Groove Fishing tackle. So check them out at groovefishing.com.
Matt Matthews was at Bayou Outdoors yesterday, and he was buying. He said, I can only get away with getting one of these at a time. He says, my wife had noticed get more. He said,
That's sad. You know?
That's sad. I was tickled to death. Hey, I don't know how long they have been doing this, but it has to have been around 30 years. The Minden St. Jude Reeling for a Cure Bass Tournament is coming up. And I know that back in the day it was always on Lake Bistineau. And I don't know if they just changed it last year or if it's been going on for a while, but this year you'll be able to fish either Lake Bistineau or Red River. It's going to come up on April the 14th at a Red River South Marina. First place, $1,000. Second place gets $800. Third place gets $600. $100 entry fee per boat. $15 big bass entry fee. The total pot will be split between the winner and St. Jude. If you've got questions about this, just pick up one of the entry forms. I know they've got them at Red River South Marina, or, of course, you can find just about any of the St. Jude representatives in the Minden area, and they'll be able to hook you up. But this is a scramble tournament. You fish your choice of Lake Bistineau or Red River and weigh in there at Red River South Marina. Single contestants or two-man teams may fish the tournament. All contestants must be in the designated line for weigh-in by 3 o'clock p.m.
There you go. There you go. All right. It's that time. Big Bass Splash Series is kicking off. Lake Gunnersville is their next event, $220,000 in cash.
You ever fish that?
No, I've never been, and I heard it is an awesome fishery.
That I would love to. I got a cousin that lives right there. Says anytime you want to go, just stay at the house and you can fish.
Well, the Fishers of Men National Championship is at Gunnersville this spring.
Yeah.
So they'll have a good time over there. Some friends of mine are going. But anyway, grand prize for this event is a 2018 Triton 19 TRX powered by Mercury, equipped with Minn Kota, Lowrance, Navionics, and Power Pole. It is just a great buy. Second place is $2,500. Third place, $2,000. Fourth place, $1,500. Again, this is all for one fish. So one fish, $105,000 in hourly payouts. They're paying the top 12 places per hour. And, of course, the same old thing, 3.0, 4.0, 5-pound exact weight bass will all win $1,000. And again, Bob Seeley, nobody does it better than Bob. And we got, I think, Sam Rayburn is next after this one.
I just saw Bob. I was in Toledo Town and Tackle last week. And I just saw they just put Bob. It's all out. He was put in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
we had him
we had
him on the show right after that.
Right.
But it's all in print now. And kudos to Bob Seeley and what he has done for the sport of bass fishing.
Yeah, nobody does it like Bob. Well deserved the honor he's been bestowed. So.
I think it's great when you can. Bob did this to make a living.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's made a great living.
Yeah.
But in the act of doing that, he has provided hundreds of thousands of people something to do on the weekend that they enjoy it and money to put in their pocket.
You bet.
So.
You win money like the pros,
Yeah.
and you're a weekend warrior, and that one fish, I wonder how many lives have been changed with one fish in a Seeley tournament.
Not even if you just win it, but just if you place in the top 10.
Or you know what? Now he gives away a lot of stuff just because you were an
the
angler.
audience.
Yeah, just being there at the weigh-in.
Yeah, I'm
so
telling you.
I know that there's something else, Mike, that we wanted to promote as well. That was on the sheet.
I've got one. I got another one here while Mike's looking that up. Third annual Dylan Kyle Poche Memorial Bass Tournament, Saturday, March the 24th. That's right around the corner. This has become and is becoming a really premier event, folks. $7,000 guaranteed first place prize. And the money continues to go up. But it's not really about the money for this event. It's about what the purpose of this event really is. It's to establish scholarship money for Northwestern State's fishing team in honor of Dylan Kyle Poche. And that's what it's really all about. And, again, a young angler, his life was taken way too soon by some idiot. But anyway, we have a few of those that live in our world that we have to deal with. But the Poche family, and including Keith Poche, the Elite Series pro, Keith usually makes an appearance and takes pictures with the kids and talks to some of the kids, signs autographs. We always appreciate Keith coming around and doing what he does, and because this was his nephew. And so, again, just a great deal. I'll actually be there emceeing that event and be the weighmaster for that event. I look forward to this every year. It's just a great group of people getting together to honor a great young man.
I don't know what you're talking about unless you're talking about the Seeley on Gunnersville.
Well, there was another one, the Despino Tire Tournament.
Oh, I thought we did that. I'm sorry. I was typing into sending results to somebody, so I was not listening.
I thought you were telling Jack Rothell he could not have our leftover Taco Bueno.
No, there's nothing left.
Yeah.
I think Jack went by. He took a picture.
Okay.
He took a picture of them lined up, sent me a picture.
Okay.
Let's see. Golly. Okay, the Despino Tire Bass Tournament. Friday, April the 13th, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. will be a mandatory registration. I don't know any of the particulars on this.
It's going to be Saturday, April the 14th.
Okay, Saturday, April 14th. You'll fish it after you sign up on the
Exactly.
13th.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th.
It's a huge. Is that like a
Ooh, golly.
$20,000?
Now it's on Toledo Bend,
Yeah.
right? First place $20,000 guaranteed. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Second place $5,000. Third $3,500. $3,000, $2,500, $1,500. 21st through 30th, $500. That's based on 200 entries, which they will.
What's the
have.
entry fee on that one?
I think it's $2 million.
Yeah.
No, $250. God, that's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is
$250
one,
and a $10 big bass.
that's the
pot.
one you and I won some money out of.
Yeah, but Gary and I fished that last year and actually got some money. Well, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
2
2
years
years
ago.
ago.
And we actually got some money out of that. But, then it was out of Big Bass Marina.
Yeah.
This year, it's out of San Miguel.
Oh, wow.
Oh, is it really? I would have thought Cypress Bend. That's good.
One other thing that we want to remind you about is the Bass Cash Bash. Obviously, you've got through April 30th if you want to fish Sam Rayburn, $50 entry fee. And they had another couple of fish that were caught over the weekend.
Yeah, you are correct, amigo.
I want to say that somebody took a picture of one and put it on Facebook. Showed the sticker on that, and somebody else caught one in one of the tournaments that was going on. Maybe that was the weekend before. Any rate, through April 30th, you can go to Lake Sam Rayburn. We just started this one on Lake Fork. It will go through June 30th. There's a total of $100,000 available there, and I want to say that there's like a 9-pounder that's leading right now. They have the Big Bass of the Month award that they're paying every month during the competition in the Bass Cash Bash, and I think it's a nine and change fish that's leading that right now. Now, Toledo Bend will begin May 1st. It'll go through September 3rd, $400,000, and I am that guy. I caught one of the fish, and I knew I had just walked past the place in Toledo Town where I could have registered and taken care of that, went out to the lake, and was fishing there in the Blue Lake area, caught a fish that would have won me a considerable chunk of change, and I didn't get in the thing.
Didn't get in.
I don't let that mistake happen anymore.
That's right. Don't be that guy. That's the slogan.
And don't forget now, we're raising money for Dr. Tommy Brown, the
Scholarship Foundation banquet, which will be at East Ridge Country Club April the 24th, a Tuesday night. But guess what? We started off going to sell 100 tickets. I shut it down yesterday at 300.
Wow.
We're full.
But we could still use some donations.
Yes, we can. You can call me up. There's a way to go online if you just want to make donations. If you've got anything you'd like to kick in the way of raffle prizes and stuff, I'd be more than happy to take that. Just give me a call or Facebook me or run into me, T-bone me at the next red light, whatever it takes.
What's your phone number?
465-MIKE.
465-6453. And that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Take us home, Brother Graff.
All right, here's this week's final word. I've been fishing the lakes and river systems since the early 1990s, and there's one thing that's very clear. All of our lakes are very crowded. That means there's going to be times where your patience will be tested as anglers cross paths and compete for prime fishing areas. But the one thing you must understand, just because you're a tournament angler does not give you priority over the general public or the weekend warrior who's out just to have a good time. Bottom line, respect any and all boaters at all times and give anglers their space. For Mike Eccles, Gary McCoy, Jay Wally, yours truly, Steve Graff, thank you for listening. Tune in next week for more Hooking Up and Tracking Down here on 1130 The Tiger.